Hi, everybody. This is Stephen Williams from Deacon's Business Analytics teaching team, welcoming you to our Week 1 seminar for T2 in 2023. If you've joined Deacon just this trimester, then a very warm welcome to you. I hope that you'll find this a productive, fulfilling, rewarding, challenging, life-changing experience for you. So I do think I'm a oh, I don't know. I'm a real believer. So whatever, I'm a real believer in the value of education. And I'm very, very passionate about the difference that it makes to everybody's life. So great. Well done you for joining us. I studied part-time. And I'm going to guess that most of you are have got a few responsibilities outside of your studies. So well done you for joining us. I've got a few questions coming up a little bit later to perhaps try and flesh that out a little bit. What I'd like us to do here in week number 1 is firstly to start orienting ourselves practically, but also kind of psychologically, emotionally as well, so that we set ourselves up for success, certainly in this unit, but hopefully we can learn something that we can take beyond the unit as well. In fact, several things that we can learn beyond the unit. We will shortly jump into the unit site a little bit. But for now, I have in the chat box put a link to Mentimeter. There is a code there as well, 6580 7151. I'd really be grateful if you would join me on Mentimeter. Feel free to turn on your microphone as well if you'd like to participate in our session that way. But the easiest way for me to make this an interactive session and of maximum value for you is if you kind of interact with me, engage with me, either through Mentimeter, through the chat box, through your microphone, so that I can help then tailor this so it's got maximum benefit for you. Now, we're not too far distant. Of course, we're still really living in the shadows of the COVID pandemic. But when it was at its height and lockdowns were in place a couple of years ago, lots of people were struggling. You know, perhaps you were struggling. I'm going to guess that you probably knew people who were struggling. And I came across many students who were struggling as well. And in the midst of that, I came across the Resilience Project. Now, I'm a huge convert for the Resilience Project. If you've not seen it, sorry, I've got it. If I don't talk, I can't type. So the Resilience Project, so founded by a chap called Hugh Van Cuylenburg. He's got a terrific story. You know, he's just a kind of a normal guy who was, through circumstances, then came up with this project. And he, there we go, cultivate positive emotions. So that really struck a chord with me during COVID. So 3 things that he thinks will make a difference: gratitude, empathy, and mindfulness. And so I would strongly encourage you to get a daily practice of gratitude, empathy, and mindfulness, not just once off, but throughout the day. So some positive habits. Now, I have had some feedback from students saying that, look, what's this got to do with statistics? So, but it does have a lot, I think, to do with learning, because learning, I think, is a pretty emotional experience, especially when things can get challenging, and how we deal with challenge can be problematic at times. Some stresses and practicals that we have to manage that can cause a little bit of angst for us at times. And so managing our emotions and getting ourselves psychologically and emotionally in the right place to maximize the learning opportunity, I think, is really important. So we will absolutely try to give you tons of technical input over the next 11 weeks. But I will also just try to make a point of just inviting you to join me in that effort to establish positive mental habits. I think it makes a difference. So what are we're grateful for headphones. Excellent. Grateful for honey. Oh, good for you. I share that passion as well. I've got a hive of bees in my backyard, and I'm hoping that I will never ever buy honey in a supermarket again for the rest of my life, which would be great. I've actually got some chickens as well, so I'm grateful for my chooks that I got couple of months ago now. So all things going well. I'm not going to buy eggs again in the supermarket, and they're just, well, they're just funny animals. They really do. Somebody's eating well with their cooking skills. Somebody's enjoying some green tea. Somebody passed their exams. Well done. Perhaps with an HD. Grateful for family and friends as well. Please get, and hopefully when you're typing that, you you can feel your mood lift, and it perhaps puts a bit of a smile on your face that, sometimes we just need something to help us make the next step. So gratitude's a great way, great practice, I think. Get on board. How are we feeling? Oh, somebody's typing. I'm sorry if I've missed that. How are we feeling about studying business analytics? You share some thoughts with me. If you would, please join us, menti.com. The link is in the chat box. The code there, hopefully you can see in the middle of the screen. 65807151. Excellent. Bit nervous, but we're taking a positive spin on it. Excited, confident, intrigued. I can understand apprehensive, and I can understand curious as well. Keen to dig in. Gosh, that is a really positive mindset, isn't it? Well done, you. Excellent. Great work. Love it. Fantastic. All right. Thanks, everyone. I really do appreciate this. It really kind of helps me. So, when we share the energy, then I think that is really, really useful. I see somebody said unexperienced, which I completely understand. So we'll well, let's keep going. We're just going to take you from where you are. I guess the message that I'd like you to take from this is, whatever you're feeling, I want you to say to yourself, this is normal. It is normal for people to feel the way that I am feeling, whatever you're feeling. And we'll just work from here. So if you're loving it and excited and up for a challenge, then great, long may it continue. If you're feeling a little bit nervous and apprehensive and inexperienced and curious, well, other people have felt exactly the same. That's normal, that's fine, and that's where we'll work from. Just work with me. So if you can help me to help you, then I'm sure that in 11 weeks' time, you'll be delighted, amazed even, about what we've been able to cover, and hopefully, I think, just a little bit inspired about the world of data. I do say to all my students, and I don't say it in any other subject that I teach, only in this one, is that I am convinced that data literacy could be the defining theme of your career. So whatever you do, butcher, baker, candlestick maker, if you want to be a business analyst and a data engineer, that too. But I think data literacy could be the defining theme of your career. And I hope that you, like me, will find that as I think more and more about this topic, I more and more see applications of data in the world around me, in lots and lots of different places. And that really opened my eyes to this being a fabulous career opportunity. Not many of us have statistics experience. So again, if that was the source of your apprehension, do not feel alone. You are not alone. Other people are in the same situation as you. So let's call it for what it is, and then we'll just simply do what we need to do to build from here. Thinking about the unit, how many assessment points are there in this unit? Please, if I'm speaking too quickly, let me know. I'm probably not going to speak any faster, but all right, if you need me to dial something up, dial something down, please tell me while we're doing it when I can do something about it. Yep, that's right. There are 3 assessment points in this unit. And starting with number 1. Number 1 is worth 10 marks. Yep, that's right. Number 1 is worth 20 marks. What is significant about Monday, the 7th of August? Very good. Actually, all of these things are true. And, well, you know, Macbeth, Kon-Tiki, the 4-minute mile, I think all of them are significant. Yep, so generally significant, the first 3, but certainly for this unit. So a date to get into our diary then, Monday, the 7th of August, we need to be submitting number 1. So I'd like you to be thinking now about what do I need to do to organize, all of my responsibilities so that I can give sufficient commitment to assignment number 1 to submit a piece of work that I'm really proud to submit and that will capture as many of those 20 marks as I am able to do. Then once number 1 is out of the way, we jump into number 2. What's the weight of assignment number 2, please? Yeah, we kind of have to step back and think, all right, 40% of the marks in this unit are in assignment number 2. So it does deserve a fair bit of respect. And so again, we need to be thinking about how it is that we're going to respond to assignment number 2. Sorry, I know I'll perhaps cut somebody off. I'm sorry about that. Now, why is Monday the 4th of September, the start of week 8, important? It's rocket science, it ain't. Yep. Oh, good. And I love the question mark there. So I'm not sure, but I'm still going to have a go. Now, if you've not used Mentimeter before, please, I want you to feel comfortable using it. I can't trace it back to it, so I can't see. I can't relate any answers to any person. So when you submit something, it is anonymous. I don't know what it is, so I hope that means that you feel free, a bit liberated to say something that might not be right, or to say something with a question mark that I don't understand. Please don't abuse that privilege and say something rude. Somebody did once, and it was, oh dear me, it's not a week I want to relive. But anyway, there we go. There's Menti. Yes, assignment 2 is going to be due. So again, we need to be putting that date in our diaries and just thinking through what is it that we need to do in the weeks leading up to that. That will put us in a position to, again, submit a piece of work that we're really proud of. I hope genuinely surprised about how good a job we've done, and that's going to capture as many of those marks as possible. Is assignment 2 a group assignment? Yeah, it is an individual assignment. But having said that, I would really, really love for you to join a study group. I know many of you, well, all of you are coming to us online. But so many of you are perhaps coming from places where we're spread far apart. I don't want you to feel isolated. I don't want you to feel lonely. And so if you can, form relationships with other students who are with us, also studying online. Now, it was James, wasn't it, who was here on Tuesday. We've been joined by Agnes, who was also with us on Tuesday. One of the students on Tuesday has established a Discord group. And inviting all people to jump into that Discord group so that you can support each other, help each other, answer questions in your own environment, ask and answer questions in your own environment. So I'd strongly encourage you to try to find that group. And what I will do is I will reach out to Lucy, who took the initiative, God bless her, for establishing that group, and try to share that, share those Discord details with you all. So even though we submit individually, if we work collaboratively, then I'm all in favour of pooling our expertise, and so that everybody benefits. So assignment number 3, yep, another big one, isn't it? 40% of the marks in assignment number 3. So good on you, Maura. All right, I must, yep, okay, so mental note, here you go. Oh, sorry, I just have to follow up Discord group and I'll try to send you those. Follow up Discord group. Oh, isn't this terrible? I had to have my family tell me what Discord actually was. Just anyway, there you go. Right, 40% is our marks. When is assignment number 3 due? Yeah, it is the 2nd of October. That is the first Monday in week number 12. So we have 11 teaching weeks, and then week 12 is what I call study week. So perhaps you knew to SWAT back. So that's study week. So week number 12, I'm hoping if you're doing other units here at Deakin that the assignment load will have subsided by the time we get to week 10 and week 11. And so in the couple of weeks leading up to the 2nd of October, I'm hoping that we'll have just a little bit more clear air for us to complete assignment number 3. But again, we need to be organising ourselves, practically, but as well as emotionally and psychologically to do a great piece of work and just finish the unit with a full head of steam. Now, when it comes to the exam, you'll be allowed 3 hours to download, complete and upload the exam. Yes, that's right. It won't be 3 hours, but let's look a little bit more into the exam. Written in-person exam. Well, for people who are answering in blue, this might make you or break you, but false is correct because, of course, there is no exam in this unit. Only 3 pieces of assignment work, no exam. Right, thinking a little bit more about this unit, how would you rate your math skills? Great. So again, if you can get into a study group, and if you're a yellow person, do try to find a group that has a pink person in it. And if you're a pink person, try to find a group with a yellow person in it. If you're in this one broader group, then I'm sure we'll have a range of different abilities. You'll both benefit from collaborating with other people. If you're a yellow person, then you'll get that direct benefit of understanding something you're struggling with. If you're a pink person, then I think you'll get the indirect benefit of actually having to think about how to explain something. And that process of explaining it will almost always deepen your own understanding about that concept. So I think everybody benefits, but working together, what do they say about problems shared being problems halved? Well, I think if we work together, then we can join that. We can experience that. All 3 assignments will require you to submit an Excel file. Assignment number 2 and number 3 will also require you to submit a report that is written in Word. So we do need to be familiar with Excel. So how would you rate your Excel ability? Great. So a spread of different abilities. Now, I want you to promise me that you will not have a negative reaction to the next thing I say. Okay, ready? We need everybody to be purple by the end of the unit. Right. Okay. So I understand some of you might, deep breath and your pulse rate might have gone up by 5 beats a minute, but we're going to do it. So again, it's about that orientation. I'm up for this challenge, and we'll do it. We'll start working with Excel. So just as as an example, or as a reference point, as you are now, self-assessment, how would you rate your Excel skills on a scale of 1 to 10? So 1 to 10, write it down. Write it down somewhere close by. And we're going to look at some Excel soon, and we'll spend a good hour or more just working with Excel so that we're bringing everybody up to that starting point a little bit beyond. We will need you to download the data analysis tool pack in Excel. Have you done that yet? Good on you. Lachlan says 8. Excellent. You are the go-to man. So, Lachlan, I need you to be patient with me. You're probably further ahead than me. James, good for you. We'll keep working there as well. Golly, now this is excellent. This is really, really, really good. So 7 of us have already done that. Now, so I would be grateful at this point. Jump onto your computer. Now, I am coming to you from a Windows-based computer. So the version of Excel that I'll be working from is a Windows-based version. Excel for Macs is a little bit different. I am going to try to negotiate with someone to see if they will let me use their Apple, their Mac. Now, I'm not a Mac user, so it's a bit like trying to write with my left hand or run backwards. So it'll be tricky, but I'll try to do that, and that might enable me to just help the Mac users just a little bit more. But what I'd like to outline, if I go to content. Now, I know that Arman hasn't released week number 2 yet, but I'll give you a sneak preview about what to expect. As far as I know, what is in Arman's mind is for every week when it's first released, is to only have this PDF document. We'll have a look at it shortly. Now, that PDF document will be a step-by-step guide to complete the Excel steps to prepare us for each week's seminar. Then once the seminars are complete, now I know you can already access the recordings directly from the unit site, but we'll formally upload them to make them even more obvious for you. But in this tab, we'll also upload some notes from every seminar and the completed Excel file. So you might not have been able to do it quite as the instructions have outlined. So we'll give you a completed Excel file every week. This is a picture of Reza, and we will also upload a video, possibly Reza's video guide to completing that week's Excel work. I've done some as well, so Arman might upload, well, he'll upload one or the other. So there'll be plenty of support available to you on the unit site every week to be moving your Excel ability along. We'll come back to this next week's tutorial. I'm thinking possibly the last half hour of our time together. We'll just make a start on next week's work to cover some important things I think that will be useful in the lead up to submitting assignment number 1. So stick with us for that. But if you can join me in week number 1, in this week's seminar activities, we have a case study. So let's have a look at the case study. So Deskplace is an Australian company. It's been operating since 1980. company specializes in manufacturing and distributing office supplies. It's grown significantly since its founding and now has over 3,000 full-time employees currently working for the company. Deskplace has 4 departments. Each department has their own head, and each of those heads of department report to the CEO. Despite the company's success, recent years have been pretty challenging, haven't they just? Deskplace managers have been recording employee performance annually since the establishment of the company. The company's aim is to achieve an average score of 80 or higher on a performance scale from 0 to 100. In addition to measuring employee performance, Deskplace also tracks monthly sales to identify trends. Deskplace has a roughly equal split of male and female employees. Jobs at the company are classified as either management or non-management. The number of non-management employees significantly outnumbers the managers in a ratio of 4 to 1. The nature of the company's business means that the vast majority of tasks can be taken by employees of either gender and by people of all age groups. At the end of the most recent financial year, the HR department conducted a review of employee performance alongside a survey of employees' perceptions of job security and job satisfaction. This review is likely to provide valuable insights into the performance of the company and the factors that contribute to employee satisfaction and engagement, well, and also performance. So as part of this course, we will be engaging with the Deskplace case study every week. So a series of questions related to the case study and guidelines to help you do the Excel work, prepare you to answer those questions. So there's a range of variables in the data set. Here's the list of them on the PDF document. But if we jump back into the seminar activities for week number 1 and grab that Excel file and launch that Excel file. Then we'll get something that looks like this. So here is our Excel file. I know that lots of us are already familiar with it, so I won't try. So I will try not to dally. But if you need me to repeat something, then please do let me know. It'd be no problems at all about doing that. So here are the different variables that appear in the employee survey as they have done in the PDF document. So now employee number. Now this will be respondents to the survey gender. And this is how the assignment data set will be organized as well. So doing the weekly seminar work will help you to prepare for the assignments as well as for that week's seminar. So in the assignment, we will have a tab for variables, and then we will have a tab with data. I'll just make that data a little bit bigger. So I'm thinking you perhaps know the magnification button on the bottom right-hand corner. So here are all of our variables. Some of these variables are categorical. Some of these variables are numeric. Now, right, I won't dally, right. If you need me to explain something, then please do let me know. But I'm presuming that you know that the cursor changes shape and changes function depending on where it is on the worksheet itself, but also where it is in relation to a cell. So, for example, I'm presuming you know how to change the width of a column. And if we right-click, then we get a range of formatting options, including column width, for example. And of course, when we select the column, it enables us to do things entirely on that column. Of course, the same thing with rows as well. So if you need me to repeat anything, please do let me know. And so from the Home tab, lots of different options for the font, bolding, italic, underline, and perhaps presumably you know about left justifying, right justifying, center. I am a center kind of a guy, so I like things to be centered. Wrap text is going to be useful to use, and merging will be as well. It'd be great. Of course, we will use different number formats from time to time. Not too many of them, but 3 or maybe even 4 as we go along. So hopefully you're familiar with formatting the numbers. Now this data set at the moment is formatted as a table, and it will be imperative for us to be formatting as a table, but possibly we might start with that next week. So I am going to just convert this to a range for today. But next week, when we move into pivot tables and pivot charts, which will be essential for completing assignment 1, then we will be turning on that table formatting function. We will get into conditional formatting again in a couple of weeks' time, and I will be strongly suggesting that you understand conditional formatting, how to create a heat map. And so I would like you to be aiming to submit a heat map for assignment number 1. I think that would be really helpful to capture the available marks there. Presumably you know about inserting, deleting, and what have you. Now, please, if you need me to go back over anything, do let me know. I'm taking this approach because several of us said that we were already relatively have some familiarity with Excel. Just to check off, hopefully that, well, for you to check off, then you'll know how to create an equation in Excel. So equals, and we click on a cell, and we can add to with another number. We can edit up in the formula bar and interrogate our equation by color coordination. We can subtract, going to another cell. We can divide, click on another cell. We can multiply, another cell. We can do all of those basic functions. But if you do remember, from the information, from the case study, they wanted to have an average. And of course, to calculate an average for performance, so average performance of 80. So to calculate an average, well, we need to add, and instead of just going cell by cell and adding up all of these performance values, we can use the auto sum function, which will do that automatically for us. Of course, we have to count that by, well, we have to divide that by the number of responses, and each of these responses we will call a data record. So each of them represents an individual employee responding to the survey. So we do have 300 responses in total, and just to make sure that we're across this. So response 294 was a male manager in the sales department. Their performance rating was 74. They had 2 days absent in the last year, and their satisfaction rating is 13. If we're not sure what 13 means, jump back to the variables tab. Job satisfaction, here it is, a rating from 0 to 20. So this employee, 13 out of 20. Corporate culture is 1. Is 1 good or is 1 not good? Well, culture, compilation of sub-indices to measure employee perceptions, lowest is 0, maximum is 15. So this employee has a pretty poor opinion of the culture at Deskplace, which is not great. They have this manager has been at Deskplace for 10 years, is on a salary of $1,539 every week, works 1 hour of unpaid overtime each week, is 43 years old, and currently feels insecure about their position in the company. So we've captured that data 300 times. So we've captured a sample. Of course, the company, 3,000 people. So that would be what we would call the population. So we have a sample, hopefully a representative sample. So basically just the company in miniature. And so when we calculate, when we analyze this data set, it's helping, whilst it is making calculations of the sample, our intention is that it will tell us about the population. So just instead of surveying everybody, we survey a subset, and hopefully that subset is just the full body in miniature. Right, we're familiar with the auto sum function. You'll use that 1,000 times in this unit. Count function, we'll use that, we'll perhaps use that a bit as well. So whoopsie-daisy, not plus, equals count. We're hopefully familiar that Excel then provides these different functions. It gives you a list based on what your input is. We'll double click that, and I will click on that first cell, shift and up arrow, just come back 1. So I'm only covering the numbers, close the brackets, bingo, there we go, and I've got 300. And then to calculate my average, so are they meeting that 80? Well, it equals 22,000 divided by 300, 74.4. So our first piece of analysis, we're going to have to report back to management, is that average performance is below the benchmark, not where we want it to be. We've done a few functions. Another one that will be really handy to know is the average function. So again, we type it in. Excel will give us a range of different options. What we've typed in, we'll double click on the one that we want. And again, we'll highlight that range. Close the brackets. There we go. Aha. So it says 74. Is it the same number as the one above it? We can do the format painter. Click. Now, it is the same number now, so that's good. But you'll see the second one is a function of that average, or the result of that average function. And the second one is a calculation. So whilst they now look the same, so using the format painter, I made them look the same. I didn't actually change the underlying data. Both of these are averages, so now I can create a range, merge and center, and so now I can use that one heading to deal with both of those. And if I wanted to emphasize it, I could make a range for both of them, and using the border option, I can make it pretty obvious that that average relates to both of those calculations. That's pretty, it's an introduction to some of our Excel functions. Please, I will keep saying it. If you do have any questions, do let me know. If you need me to go back over anything, let me know. If you're a little bit uncertain about anybody, others seeing or feeling a bit self-conscious, then instead of sending a broadcast message in the chat box, you can send a specific one to me, because otherwise I'm going to presume that you're with me, and I'll keep moving, because we now do need to, just a couple of other things about navigating the spreadsheet. It will be useful, I find it useful, to know how the freeze panes and unfreeze panes option works. So when we unfreeze them, of course, we lose that first column, first row of data. So now I don't know what these numbers refer to. So to have that consistent reference point, I need to freeze those panes. And so no matter how far I scroll down, I always see that reference point. Really, really handy. Some other things that are useful within the data option, if we highlight all of these titles and then turn on the filter, we can now sort the whole spreadsheet. So alphabetically, we can then select different specific amounts in the spreadsheet, and we can drill down to finer and finer levels of detail. Which can be a really useful function. I'll just try to turn all of these off. There we go. And I'll reorder them. Goodie-o. All right, so I'll just repeat what I've done. I'll turn this filter off. So if I want to turn the filter on, I'm going to highlight my first row. So highlight all of those. I'll select the data option in the center at the top, click on that, and then I'll select the filter option. And that's where these drop down arrows come and provide me with a range of different options for me to carry out. Good. All righty. I don't mind if they stay there. What we're going to do now is to download the Data Analytics Tool Pack. So for those of you who have done it, that's great work. For others, now across the top there, of course, we've got the file. Oops, daisy. Home, insert, layout. We want to get the date. Well, ultimately we will. To download it though, if you're in a Windows environment, you'll need to go top left for File. You will need to go to the bottom left for Options. We'll get this window appear. We'll need to then select Add-ins. It does take a bit of time to generate it. And we'll get this window to appear. Down the bottom there, we need to select Excel add-ins. Hit go. And in this window, we select the Data Analysis Tool Pack. Once you're there, you hit OK. And then when you come out, you select the data function. On the far right-hand side is the Data Analytics Tool Pack. So we're going to jump into that tool pack now. So I'm going to click on data analytics. We have been looking at performance. We'll use this a few times. We'll use it more in assignment 2 and assignment 3 than assignment 1. But in the weeks leading up to the next couple of weeks, we'll use it also. So several different options here that we will use, but for now, select descriptive statistics, please. So I'll just come back. Select the data menu option. Far right-hand side, select data analytics. From the menu, select descriptive statistics, hit OK, and we'll get this sheet come up. In the input range, might be useful to hit the arrow there to get this option, and I click on the word performance and then shift and down so I get the full column of data from our data set, including the heading. Click on the arrow again, and so in the input range we're going from E1 to E301. Columns are selected. Now, because we have selected the word performance, and I think that's the best way to do it, we do also need to select labels in first row. And in the output range, you feel free to try with a new worksheet or a new workbook. It'll be quicker and easier if we just do this one. I can just click in that box there, and I will in fact just scroll down to the bottom, and I'm going to click below where I've calculated the averages previously, but in column D here, so one column to the left. Click on summary statistics. Once you've done that, hit OK. And hopefully you will get this. Now, if you haven't got that, please let me know. All right. So hopefully we're across that. Good. So now, using this one function, we're able to get a range of statistics. Good on you, Jason. See, that's worth it, isn't it? All right. Good, great stuff. Well, that's excellent. Right, so we've got a range of different things. You know, we calculated the average before. Of course, mean and average is the same thing. Previously, we calculated the sum, and we previously calculated the number, the count for the data, and a range of other things as well. With assignment number 3, we will be accessing that standard error. With assignment number well, for the next couple of weeks, univariate and bivariate analysis, we'll be looking at medians and modes. With assignment number 2 and assignment number 3, we'll be concerned about standard deviations, which of course are linked to the variance. So we will be doing the normal distribution when it comes to probability, and then we'll be using extensions of the normal distribution when we get to confidence intervals and hypothesis testing. We will look briefly at kurtosis next week. We'll look a little bit more detail in skewness. That will be an important thing for us. Then the range. Well, the range is a function of what comes later. So now we can say the employee with the lowest performance score had a score of 13. The employee or multiple employees who had maximum performance and maximum score for performance was 100. 100 minus 13 is 87. So there's our range. So we get a whole range of stuff from that descriptive analytics tool. Right, so I'll just pause for a few seconds. Does anybody need me to repeat anything? Please let me know, because now what we're going to do, we can do the same thing again, just to reinforce our understanding of the data analysis toolpack, but also generating descriptive statistics. And we'll do a little bit of Excel formatting as well. All right, so now the descriptive stats only operate off numeric data, but we've got a ton of numeric data. Look, all of these ones, performance, absent, all of those ones are numeric. So now let's do the descriptive stats across all of those headings. So just to repeat the steps: data, far right-hand side, data analytics, select descriptive statistics, hit OK. Now the input, the only thing that will change are the inputs. Don't change the output range either. We'll overwrite what we've just done. So now, instead of just selecting performance and everything across, shift, so anchor my cursor, right arrow, and now I'm going to select all of them. All of them there, hit that down arrow. And I'm going to hit OK. It'll tell me I'm overwriting existing data, and that's fine, because I will be overwriting what the descriptive stats I generated for performance alone. But now I'm doing performance plus a range of others as well. So I'll hit OK, and this is what comes up. Now, look, if I could change some things about Excel, this would be one of the things I'd change, but look, I'm not sure. If there's another way around it. Lachlan or James might be able to tell me. But for now, I'm going to say I can't really. So I've got the performance heading and the numbers beside it. I've got the days absent heading and the numbers beside it. And I've got these narratives every second column, which I don't need. So I'm going to move these headings one cell to the right. So I'll just, from performance, put the cursor there, put my shift key. I'm just using the right arrow to go across to all of them. And now I could do cut and paste it one cell to the right. And now I've lined up these headings with the data. Now what I'd like to do is so I've got performance heading and performance numbers below. I'd like the days absence descriptive stats to be in the days absence column. So cut and paste. Job satisfaction. Select the range, cut and paste. Corporate culture, select the range. I could use the keyboard, Control X, across we go. I could just do return, or I could do Control V. Use at desk place, select the range, using the keyboard, Control X, using my arrow key, just hit enter. Of course, I could just select the range using my cursor, which will change shape. There we go, 4 points of the compass. Left click and drag. Yep, overwrite that, that's fine. Unpaid overtime, select, let the cursor change shape, click, drag. Age in years, cursor, select the range, let it change shape, 4 points of the compass, left click, drag it across. There we go, all good. Now, just to tidy up my work a little bit, what I'm going to do, just select the range above these. Now I've selected the range, bottom right-hand corner, there's this fill handle, and I'm just going to copy these blank cells downwards. So again, the cursor changes shape. So I've got those black crosshairs, left click and drag it down. There we go, all gone. So I've just copied a range of blank cells down. Right, I'll pause again. Does anybody need me to repeat any of these steps? Good on you, Grace. That's feedback. Well done. That's all good. Alrighty, so now we might just do a little bit of formatting. So again, just I like things being centered, so we can select the range or we can select the whole column. Center and center. There we go. Now for these ones up the top there that look pretty crowded to me. So have a look at it and I think, oh, geez, so I select the number. I do like the 1000 separator. 2 decimal places is pretty good. Good on you, Moira. Good on you, Grace. Excellent. All right, excellent. If you're happy, I'm happy. Thanks for that. Thanks for that feedback. It's it's great stuff. All right, there you go. Now the ones below that, I'll just highlight that range. Again, I select the number. I do like the number 1. Use the comma. 0 decimal places for these ones. There we go. And isn't that great? We've got some we've calculated, I don't know how many. Now, 104 calculations we've done. 104 calculations in, no time flat. So the descriptive stats are really, really, really useful. Really useful, great tool. We'll be using that tool for other things as we go along. All right. Okie doke. So I'm going to this is really good. We're moving pretty quickly, which is excellent. This is kind of similar to the approach that we've tried to adopt in the videos that will be uploaded from week to week as well. But let's keep going. Let's press on a little bit and let's just make a start on next week's seminar work. Now, I know that this isn't visible to you just yet, so I'm sorry about that. We won't be far away. So I'm going to go into week 2. We'll have into the seminar lab activities. So here is the student's copy. Now, every week, I would like you to go back to the week 1 desk place Excel file and start from that common fresh position, and we'll build on it from there. That would be my suggestion, but you'll need to make your own decision about what works best for you. All right. So 18 pages of guidance. It sounds a lot, but we'll move through a reasonable portion of it in the next hour. So please, don't be intimidated by 18. Just say, oh gosh, we've got lots of detail, lots of guidance about how to put together these steps. So univariate, so that's a really posh word, isn't it? Uni, just, unicycle. I wonder what university means, one something or other. Anyway, it means one. Variate, it just looks like variable. So we're just analyzing single variables next week. Assignment 1 will be bivariate and in some places multivariate analysis, but this will give us an introduction. And in fact, the descriptive stats have already started us pretty well on this road. So read the following instructions, follow the step-by-step guidelines, respond to them, ideally before coming to the seminar. Now, again, I'll be guided by you. So if there's if you haven't had a chance to do the seminar work before the seminar, I don't mind spending the first 20 minutes, perhaps not more than half an hour, 20 minutes or 20, 30 minutes, just going through perhaps the key steps. Or if there's parts of it that you've struggled a little bit with, then I'm more than happy for us to kind of workshop those so that we've got those steps under our belt. But again, if you help me to help you, then hopefully we'll maximize the benefit of these sessions for you. Righty-ho, the HR director wants to gain a better understanding of the behaviour, performance and satisfaction of employees at Deskplace. She wants to start by considering the number of days that employees are absent, and she has asked you to construct appropriate charts for days absent. And we'll just start with the first 10 employees, taking into consideration gender and departments and management, non-managerial roles. I'm actually going to go just a little bit beyond that because we are moving pretty well. Summarize our conclusions. So here we go. So we'll save the Deskplace data file on your hard drive. Now, while I'm on that, I monitor the email box for the unit and the discussion board as well. And one of the least pleasant aspects of that role has been to respond to students who've said, I'm so sorry, I wasn't, my computer crashed and I wasn't able to submit my assignment on time. And I've had to go back to them and say, that's really, really sad that your computer crashed, but the integrity of your data is your responsibility. So our expectation is that you're saving your data regularly and you are also backing up your data regularly as well. And so as a matter of policy, we do not accept IT problems as a justification for failing to submit assignments on time. I know that sounds a little bit harsh and I don't mean to sound mean or anything like that, but that's the policy that we adopt. And it is teaching us good IT hygiene habits. Now, I will show you what I do because I save almost nothing to my computer, almost nothing. If you can see my file explorer, then on my options, I have an option for this PC. And then I have this network H drive. And then I am able to save all of my Deakin files to the Deakin network. There is another option as well. So you might be familiar with OneDrive, and I think that is another option for you to be saving your work to the network. And if you do that, then if your computer does crash, then hopefully you can borrow one from somebody else and access your data that has been saved to a central location and avoid those problems. So make accessing your data our problem, not your problem, and keep it in this place. And I do think that broadly, it is really good computer habits that are IT habits that will be useful for our career. So please, I don't want you to, I don't want to sound like I'm being mean or anything like that. But let's just put ourselves in the position where we just don't have to put ourselves through that personal stress and anxiety. All right, there you go, enough said. Open a new worksheet, name it Q1 days absent. So we can continue working off the worksheet that we have. Of course, with that round circle with a plus in it down towards the bottom, if we click that, we get a new spreadsheet. My habit with these spreadsheets, off to the left-hand corner, where that little triangle is, click on the triangle, highlight the whole worksheet, and then come across and format the column widths. I kind of go for 12 as my default. Change the row heights, right-click, row height 25 will be good. There we go. I try to save them, center them, left to right, that's horizontally, and then up and down, that's vertically. There we go. Right, so we've done that. I'll come back. Name that new worksheet Q1 days absent. So I would save the file as, week 2 seminar. So, MIS 171, week 2 seminar, and on this tab, Q1 days absent. So this will be the first question we look at next week. Double click on the tab name, Q1 days ABSENT. Sorry, I have to talk to myself or I'll make a mistake. Now, so far so good. Go to the employee survey sheet, copy cells A1 to F11. A1 to F11. Employee survey sheet, top there, A. I'll put the shift key down to anchor, and across we go to F, down, 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 down. There we go. So we are simply highlighting the first 10 employees and the headings all the way across just to days absent. So we're going to be looking at days absent for now. So once we've done that, we'll copy, oh, shiver my timbers. We'll copy that. And on this new worksheet that we've created, we will paste it. Ooh, so now, yeah, and I'll just do a little bit of, there we go, a little bit of formatting. Please let me know if we need to go back. Copy the cells, paste them into the new worksheet. Use the auto sum function to add the number of days absent. Alrighty. So I'll just in this bottom row, TOTAL, total, cross to days absent, equals SUM. We could use the button that's up there. Double click, highlight, close the brackets, enter. And I'll just highlight all of those too. There we go. So there's our days absent. Right. Auto sum, select the range A1 to F11. Well, that's A1 to F11. That's everything. In the menu ribbon, select data and sort. Okay, back we go. Data, sort. So we did the filter button with the earlier spreadsheet. Now we'll use the sort function. Now, whenever you use the sort function, we have to sort the whole table. So the whole thing. Otherwise, we'll mix the data records, which will then compromise our results. I do like filter because it has built into it that automated reorganization of the whole spreadsheet. With data, we have to manually make sure that we're doing the whole spreadsheet, the whole data set. There we go. Now, in the sort window, select department by sort by, and then add a level and select gender. So we're going to sort according to department and gender. So we will sort by department at a level. We will sort by gender. So once we've got that, we'll hit OK. Done. And we've sorted the whole, well, this sub data set. Righty-ho. So there we go. We have a visual of what it will look like. Now in column H, type the names of the 4 different departments. And if you like, there's a visual down below of what we're wanting to achieve. Column H. So I am going to just Control C. Here we go. Oops. So now the departments, I could type them, but I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm just going to copy, paste them across. Total down below, T-O-T-A-L. Nice. Okey-doke. Right, now for the HR department employees, count the total number of absent days for males and females, populate the table with the results, repeat for the other departments, then repeat again for management, non-management. So here's our visual. This is what we want to end up with. And in fact, what I'd like us to do is to go one step beyond that. And in fact, have a total column. So we've got total down the bottom that gives us total males, total females, total management, non-management. So vertically, we'll have another one that will give us the total number of HR employees, the total number of IT, manufacturing, and sales as well. So what we're going to be looking at is males. Well, why don't I go alphabetically? Females first, males second. Skip a column, and then I'll go management, M-A-N-A-G-E-M-E-N-T, then non, N-O-N, M-A-N-A-G-E-M-E-N-T. I'll skip a column, and then this is what I was saying. It's not in the instructions, but let's do total. Now, perhaps you're familiar with the wrap text function. So I've turned that on, and I'll change the row height there. I get everything there. Total or bold. Total or bold. I'll change this column width. Let's just make it 5. But feel free to do it the way that you think is going to present the details the best. Now we have to count the days absent. So we want to then allocate these 29 days on a gender basis for each department, but also on a management, non-management basis for each department. And let's go a step further and calculate the days absence for each department overall. So let's see, HR females. So here is female, here is HR, it is 2. So females equals 2. Now males in the HR department, we have 2 males. So these 2, so equals sum 1 and 4. Enter. Now, the IT department, there's only 2 employees. They are both female. So equals sum female, female. There we are. Close the brackets, enter. So there are no males to be concerned about. In the manufacturing department, we have 1 male employee. So manufacturing males equals, there we go, 3 days for that 1 employee. Sales department, we have 1 female, 5 days, so equals 5, enter. And then for males, a few of those, equals SUM, sum, 1, 2, 3, close brackets, enter. There we go. Now, double check to make sure that I'm right. So down the bottom, I'll do my auto sum. Oh, that's not what I want. I want all of them. So I'll have to just slightly adjust that calculation. And look, I'll just use that fill handle. And I'm going to continue all the way across. And simply delete the ones I don't need. So 15 and 14 down the bottom right-hand corner of my spreadsheet, I can see that the sum is 29. So I have everything. I know in my head I could do it as well. Now, rinse and repeat for management, non-management. So what I suppose I could do, let's data filter. And now I'll filter no, that's not quite going to work, is it? So I'll just sort. The thing I enjoy about Excel is that bit of trial and error. Oh dear me, no, I can't do that because it's messed up my equations, hasn't it? Oh, Stephen. So I'll just have to do it. Hopefully we're still good. All right, well, I'll just have to do it longhand. HR management. So HR management is 2. For non-management equals, I can use the sum function here because there are 2 beside each other. Enter. IT management, there is 1. So equals IT management, 4 days absent. And IT non-management, there is 1, equals 4. Enter. Manufacturing non-management, that 1 employee, equals 3. Enter. Now for sales, 3 of them are management, so equals SUM. 1, 2, 3. Close the brackets, enter. 1 more, equal for the non-management, that's 3. Oh, and I've got 14, 15 again. I've got my 29. Excellent. Now, let's do this final one. So how many HR employees? Well, I'm certainly not going to do what Excel is thinking I might want. I'm only going to do the management, non-management. Don't even need to do the male, female. And I'll hit enter. So 7 days absence from the HR department employees. I'll use my fill handle. Bingo. And I'm there. So I've created my table. I could do some formatting so that it looks like what is in the instructions. I'll just pause again. Does anybody need me to repeat any steps? No. All right. So perhaps, so hopefully that means that we're still tracking. Good on you. Thanks for the feedback, Maura. Good for you. Well done. Alrighty. So let's get back to the instructions. So select the cells H4 to J7 and insert a chart. So, oh gosh, what was it? H4J7. So look, it means those. We haven't done it exactly like in the guidelines. The video kind of does highlight it, but we want to do a chart. So if you're not familiar with charts, it's I hope you'll be really surprised, pleasantly surprised about. We just go to the insert option. Maura, this seminar will be recorded. Absolutely, that's right. Yeah, and look, I'll do it now. I'll show you where they'll be. So we will come back to this shortly. So tomorrow, I will upload class and seminar recordings. So Armand's lecture has been uploaded. Tomorrow, I'll put this seminar in this spot. I will also put it in week 1, seminar activities. So I'll upload the recording here as well. But to be honest, I'll show you a third place you can find it. Online classroom. So the pathway that you came in. Now, I hope this will work. No, sorry, I'm just, there we go. I'm gonna come back. Sorry. We came in on the Thursday. I'm going to go to the seminar that was earlier this week, Tuesday. So if we click on this one, cloud recordings. There you go. So that was the seminar from a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago. So lots of different places where you'll be able to find it. I'm going to get rid of that. Right, where were we? Back to content. Now we go through week 2, seminar. And our notes. Hopefully that's not too big. Right, let's try various charts. And this is the process that we want you to follow with assignment number 1. So insert. Now let's go to recommended charts. And Excel, clever clogs Excel is saying, look, in our view, of course, it doesn't talk to us, but we think this is probably the optimal way to present the data. If you don't like this format, then what about this? Does that work for you? Or that? Or this one? Or this one? So we've got lots of different options. And so what I'd like you to do is, just spend a moment saying, what's the best way to display this data? So assignment 1 will be how, of all the different ways to analyze this data, what is going to be the highest priority? And we'll tell you about the company and the scenario, so you'll have an idea about the priority. So we'll select our priorities, then we'll select how to present it, then we'll execute the presentation. Bingo, that's assignment 1. So if you're not sure about these recommended ones, you might like to click on the other cell for all charts. And it will give you, we can have column charts, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I probably suggest you don't go too far with these 3-dimensional ones. Some of my colleagues have who are more experienced with statistics will tell you that they can actually distort the visualization a little bit. So just be careful about doing. Well, certainly don't overdo it. We could see what it looks like. The data looks like with a line chart or a pie chart, bar chart. So dozens and dozens of different charts. So we'll just pick the one. There we go. Once we picked one, we'll just hit OK. And Bob's your uncle. There's our chart with our data. How cool is that? Right, now, So we have selected the clustered column chart. Now we have to update the chart title. So here's the chart title. So we'll just highlight that. And we will say desk place employee absence by department. I'll highlight all of that, and I'll just format it to make sure that it's black, bold for a heading, I think, and maybe we'll do 16. Of course, now it has wrapped around a little bit, but I can click on the chart and I can make it bigger if I like, in all sorts of different directions. What will be important for assignment number 1 is that once we actually click on the chart, we can then cut the chart, take it to a new sheet and paste that chart. And that is another step that we'll be asking you to include in assignment number 1. So perhaps handy to get a head start on that now. All right, now we have to look at, well, how to optimize the visual appeal of the chart that we have created. If you're on a Windows computer, step back, Stephen. Right. If you click on the chart, all right, now hopefully at the top, you'll get this chart design option. And you also get this format option. Click on the chart design option. Whether you're Windows or Mac, on the left-hand side, you will have add chart element, drop-down menu there, and lots of different formatting options. I know it's not the formatting tab, but there's lots of different options that we can use. I'll say formatting it. If you're in a Windows environment, you can hit the plus button. Now, James has just mentioned this is a bit different from the seminar on Tuesday. Yes, you're right, James, it is a bit different. I think where we've started with people's Excel ability today is just a little bit further along than the Tuesday groups. Oh, yes, and you're right, James. That was an error that I made on Tuesday's seminar. The principles remain the same. But I did make a bit of a blue, to be honest, because the instructions say to put days absence, and so here I should be having 29. And what James is saying, that I was just counting. So when it was HR and females, I said, there's one female. So I counted the number of males and the number of females. So so I was I was perhaps rushing a little bit, or perhaps a bit nervous or excited for the first day of the trimester. Good on you, James. That is really, well, it's conscientious that you're coming to both for a start, but that's very good observation as well. Righty ho. Let's have a look. So I've selected 16 font and Calibri. So let's just keep it all consistent. What about down here? Well, I'll just make sure it's black. I will bold it. 16 for the heading. I don't need 16 down here, but maybe a bit bigger than 9. What does 11 look like? Yeah, that's perhaps okay. I'll click on the legend and bold, black, and maybe I'll go for 11 there. Good. Also blue for females, red for males. There we go. I'm not going to be gender stereotypical. What? Down the vertical axis, I'll need to be consistent. Bold, black, and 11. Now, but what do those numbers mean? So I will click on the chart design, add a chart element, and axis. So on that vertical axis, oh, I've turned it off. Oh, so I made a mistake. Control Z. There we go. It's back again. What I meant was axis titles. So there you go. So I've learned something. I can get rid of an axis. Then maybe that'll be appropriate sometimes, or I can bring it back. Add a title on the vertical. So there it is. I've had a box appear, and I'm now going to say days, A, B, S, E, N, absence. Using my shift and arrow keys, I'll highlight that. And I'll bold, no black to be consistent. I'll have it in 11. Cool. Let's experiment. I'll click on the chart again. I'm just going to do a right click now. And lots of different things that I can do, including put an outline there. So maybe I'll put it out in a range of different colors. So whatever the corporate color is, perhaps. And in fact, that outline, I can make it bolder, finer. I can select more lines and have all sorts of different options. So everything's contained within it. Another groovy thing that I do like to have, because there's a lot of white there. Now, in some cases, you might think, well, white's great, love white, so let's not change it. But if I click on the plot, in fact, if I do a right click on the plot, format the data series, now you might just need to sort of, if that doesn't come up immediately, just click off. There we go, and try again. Right click and we'll get there eventually, but under design, chart design and format, you'll find it. Format the data series, and I am going to change the gap width. Right now it says 219. I'm going to make it 50. And everything gets just a little bit wider, so just a little bit more prominent. And you decide, what do you think is going to make that data more meaningful or more meaningfully presented? What else can we do? I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do I need that? Perhaps I can click on the numbers just to select those axes and do a right click. Now I can format the axis. Lots of different things I can put here, including, so I can change these units. So instead of 1, I'll make it 2. And you see, I do change the chart. It has to include the 2, then it's given me all the way up to 9. I don't have to keep that. I can make instead of having the maximum 10, I will have the maximum as 9. Tab, then it just changes the shape just a little bit, but it does play around a little bit, which might not be ideal. But a great thing is I'm only Control Z away from doing something a little bit different. Now I know what was the total was, if 8 was a total, then maybe all I need is 8. Okay. And pretty quickly, pretty easily, I can make some changes to the chart. Down the bottom here, there is number. I can select number. And if I want, I can select decimal places. Usually what I'm doing is actually changing whatever the number is to 0, but we have a choice about what we can do. Just a couple of things about charts. If we do get on to chart design, chart format, I can give the chart a name. And it will be important for assignment number 1 that you name all of the charts that you create. It will also be important for assignment number 1 that you name any tables, well, pivot tables that you create. It will save you a world of pain. It'll make the process much more efficient, much more robust as well. So I could just call this chart days absent. There we go. And it saved it as days absent. Beautiful. Alrighty. So getting back to these notes, click on the chart, design option, add chart element. Yep, we've done titles, vertical, number of days. Select the design option, select the data, series 1. Now we can do that, so it's referring to this here. So I'll just I will show you. There are different types, so it is useful to know. We click on the chart, chart design, select the data, and it will give us a range of different options. Now, in the notes, where was I? There we go. It was just coming up with series 1 and series 2. What we have done is, because we selected categorical data, so words, in both row and column, then Excel has populated this dialog box with words and with columns. We haven't done that in the notes, so it is taking you through some variations about how you can then add that detail. So you want to, if you wanted to, you could just click on the word females, you could edit it, and it gives you the options. So series name, for example, and we've just can click on that cell and it will get change the series name, series values. That is what it is charting. Now we can vary, and times it's really useful for us to be able to do that. We don't need to do it this time. So there we go. And here is the example. If you follow the video and the notes, that's what we get through, what we get to, so you can check your work as we go along. We can select different ways to select a different chart, so we're not locked in for the first one that we choose. We can click on the chart. Here's our chart type, and we can change it. And it will change our chart. How can we rotate now? So to rotate the chart, James, so column. Hopefully it's still going to be the same. I'll just try to presume what it is. So what? Let's come back, James. So we'll select on the chart, chart design, change chart type. Hopefully you'll have a change chart type option on your MacBook. And then you can change from a column chart to a bar chart. So it's not exactly rotating it, but it is making the plots go in the opposite direction. Now, so after we wind up, James, we can, if you're struggling with that, then we can try to troubleshoot that a bit. So we're absolutely not locked in at all. So we can be continuous. So if we have an idea that comes to us later on then we don't have to go all the way back to square one to execute that. All good. Excellent, James. That's good news. Let's go back to the notes. Chart is informative. You can switch rows and columns to create a more explanatory chart. So here's different options that you'll be able to find. And then we repeat the same steps for management and non-management. Come up with this chart. And then this is as far as we need to go with question number 1. And so what are our findings? So what we can, all right, so now we'll go back to our table. So we have a visual analysis in our chart. So back here. Well, let's do something else. Right, so what we can say is that 7 HR employees, right, HR department, there were 7 days absence from the HR department. 7 out of 29, so approximately 25%. Just now, I know we can, this is easy, but let's just copy all of this. Paste it down below. Now, let's grab those numbers. So for females, now we're going to go equals, and I'm going to click on that 2 from females above, and I'm going to divide it by 29 down the bottom right-hand corner, enter. I'm going to jump back onto that females, and I'm going to convert it to a percentage with a 1 decimal place. Before I do anything else, I'm going to click on that 6.9%, and up the top in the formula ribbon, I'm going to put a $sign. Well, sorry, I'm going to explain what I'm trying to attempt. I now want to convert this second table, convert the numbers into percentages. Now, I could copy this females down, and I get a range of problems here. I'm happy with the 6.9, but the next one down, well, I'm happy with the 8, but now instead of the 29, it's gone 1 cell down. And that's because Excel's default approach, when we copy a formula downwards, it's called relative referencing. So what was I and O, so I2 and O6, because it's come down 1, it is now I3 and O7. So it's come down 1 in both of those references. Now I'm happy with it coming down 1, 2 to 8, but I want it to stay locked on that 29. So I can do that. I want it to, I don't, because I want it always to be referencing row 7. So with my original one, always referencing row 6, I beg your pardon, I'm going to put a $sign before the 6. And so now, when I copy it down, there we go. 1 reference has come down. Yeah, good on you, James. But the other one is fixed. So that's great. So now I can copy all the way down. What will happen? And all good. Oh, what I'll do is I'll now format Painter. Now let's go to the right-hand side. What do you think will happen? Right. So let's see what the problem is. So now, because I've moved my equation to the right-hand side, it's moved my reference to the others. So not only do I need to lock that 29 for the row, I need to lock it for the column. Let's go back all the way to the start. So now I'll need to put a $sign before the O. So $sign O. There we go, enter. So now let's go down. Now let's go across. Ooh, what happened? Did I not do it? Oh, I need to go down. That's what I need to do. Now I'll highlight that. I'm going to highlight this whole range. So all of those cells, not just copying one cell, but several cells. There we go. That's better. I'm going to keep going all the way across. I'll just delete what I don't need. Now this is important because we've taken the raw numbers and converted them into proportions, because the raw numbers are only from a sample, you know, a subsample in this case. But the reason that we don't do a sample because we like samples, well, we love samples, but the reason that we select samples is that they provide us a window into what is happening in the population, the bigger picture. And so whilst 2 days absence or 5 days absence might be useful information for this subsample, it doesn't give us any idea about what's happening in the population. But converting them to percentages or proportions does, because now we can say 24.1% of all absences came from the HR department. If we've been clever in selecting the sample, we can say, well, that applies to the sample, but also applies to the population. So the trick is to get an accurate sample, and the results of that sample can tell us about what's happening for all employees across the whole company. So now management says, oh, okay, most of our days absence across the whole company come from the sales department. We can say manufacturing department across the whole company is great when it comes to days absence, because only 10.3% of absences for the whole company are in the manufacturing department. We could say that the proportion of days absence between HR and IT are roughly similar. So that's what we've just done. And hopefully then we can see how we get to those results, or how do we get to these findings. Then we can do a similar process with genders, and so on and so on and so on. And so that brings us really to the end of question 1 that we'll be looking at in next week's seminar. Please come. And then we're on to question number 2. And you see, we're page 8 out of 18. So we're halfway through these guidelines already, and we've been doing this for, 45, 50 minutes. There's something about that sales team. Alrighty, so I think we might draw things to a close there. Please do, I will stop the recording very soon. I'll stay on the line for a couple of minutes. So if you have any follow-up questions before we wind up for the evening, please feel free to stay on the line. I'll do my best to answer them before we wind up. But otherwise, then thanks so much for coming along. I really appreciate your time. I hope that you find this a valuable and useful session. Please do let me know if there's anything that you would like me to tweak to make it more valuable and more useful for you. If you give me the feedback in real time, then I can do my best to tailor it so that it's valuable for you. Otherwise, do please take time to throughout every day to look for something that you are grateful for. If you can extend that into empathy and mindfulness, then I'm sure that you'll benefit. People around you will benefit, and gosh, isn't it great to be positively connected with other people as well? It's a wonderful thing. Take care, everybody. Stay online. Remind me if there's any follow-ups I need apart from the Discord group. I've got that. Otherwise, everybody, do take care of yourself. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye for now.